can find something amazing.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a $300 experience. It can be an $8 sandwich
right.
at a gas station. It could be fried pork and spicy cabbage. Like
yes.
It's wild if you let it be.
I know. So I'll have to ask you then, since you're talking about New Orleans and Louisiana, and as we were talking before the podcast was my daytime thing. I would happen to be in Louisiana for a good bit, and so boating and cracklins.
Yes, I would eat that. I would definitely eat that.
That was something new for a lot of us that were like, okay, this is interesting, and obviously for somebody like myself, as you know, is being Scottish and in trying even haggis, right? Like
right up your
shove
alley.
it, just shove it in there, yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
Thing.
Just jam it in there and to be done with it. So
yeah, there's not too much. I don't know. It's just one of those. It's one of those magical places where probably anywhere else I'm not, like, in the middle of Nebraska. Yeah, I'm not probably gonna eat the boating, but there, yeah, I'm about to. Let's do it.
Right.
Grandma's been doing it, and Grandma's been doing it, and you've been doing it for 200 years, and there's a reason that it's so fantastic.
So yeah. Now I think that's, like I said, So did you go to every House of Blues in the country, or was it a certain
one? A good bit of them. There was a few open before I started in Vegas, and they did a few after me. But I opened in Atlantic City and San Diego, and reopened New Orleans, and I was out of Vegas, and I did Chicago one time. It was good times. New Orleans, obviously, that was still my favorite. That was always my favorite.
Right.
There's the one in Orlando I never went to. Sadly enough. Anaheim I did. I didn't open it, but I'd been there.
Right.
Trying to think of which other ones were around. When I left, we were just slated to open Dallas, which I was going to go open, but I ended up having an opportunity that I had to take. And I sat out on Cleveland, which I wish that I hadn't. I wanted to do Cleveland, but I had prior family engagements that kept me from going.
Right.
But yeah, I was pretty much in a good chunk of them.
So, okay. So this definitely, is this something that you can pick up here?
Yep, you can have this one here. I'm horrible with the language.
You say Papa Giorgio?
Yeah, Mr. Papa Giorgio. But yeah, it's a tasty one. It's cool. Got the little brown sack, a little leather bag, so it's special. I had a regular bring it, and he's a super rum guy. He complained about my rum selection. I'm like, man, I have more rums than most people.
Right.
But he's a Puerto Rican guy, likes to bust my balls a little bit, so so he brought me that one.
That's pretty good.
Friends ever since.
There you go. That's it. That's all that matters. So while your time there traveling around, so you're talking about late or early 2000s time frame and so forth. You throw your hat into the ring there and to see what you got, and go up against Mr. Gordon Ramsay, and been a contestant, or I guess whatever you want to call it, victim or whatever, on Hell's Kitchen.
That was a funny story too, actually, because I never watched the show other than like once or twice.
So you had no idea what you're getting into, huh?
No, I didn't. No offense to Ramsay, but I wasn't really into the show. I was young and cooking. I had been in cooking. I knew what it was, and the one or two times that I had watched the show, I just kind of felt like it wasn't showing what we really do in a good light. Not in a good light, it's the wrong way to say it. But anyway, I guess the funny part of the story was I come home one day, and my roommate at the time, his girlfriend's watching Hell's Kitchen on my brand new 65-inch TV. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this shit. I just
you just did
13 hours. This isn't really what happens. I don't want to watch it. So she made a joke about, well, if you're so good, then you go get on this show. Go get on the damn show. And we joked about it. And a year and a half went by, and I didn't think anything about it. And she called me one day out of the blue. This true story, 100% true story. My good friend Stress, we're still friends, and she lives in Florida now too, ironically enough. All my friends from Vegas have migrated here. But she calls me one day out of the blue and says, open cattle call for Hell's Kitchen is at Jet nightclub, which I happened to work next door to in the Mirage anyway when I was working for BB King. She said, well, there's an open cattle call and you're going to have to go. You're going. You said you're going to get on this show. And I think she was trying to egg me on to embarrass myself or whatever. But so I said, I would love to go, but at the time I just had my son. He was a year and a half old. I said, so I'm here with Charlie. I'm off today. I'd go do it, but I can't. I got the boy. She said, I know. I'm on the way over. I'm going to babysit, so you can go and get on the show if you're that fucking good. And so I thought, well, I guess I kind of have to now, don't I?
It's just throwing it down.
Yeah, I'm going to waste my one day off sitting in line all day, wasting my time just to say that I did it, not thinking that I'd actually, do it.
Should have happened
anyway. But yeah, so I got down there and I got in line. I sat there for a few hours and I jumped through the hoops and I ended up getting on the damn show. So, like I say, I really, not that I didn't really have any desire to do it, other than I wanted to, just keep my word. Say, all right, fine, I'll go do this, and then there I was.
Like, then it was, oh shit,
and
what did I?
Shit, what did I do? What did I do? But it was a great experience. I wish that I had watched it one or two times before. Because, and it was one of the things that Ramsey and I talked about off camera very briefly. You don't get a lot of time with him, and most of it's camera time. But we both knew that I was 23 years old. I'm 3 years out of culinary school. We both know I'm not a fucking chef. But he recognized that I knew what I was doing. He recognized that I would ask people if they wanted help. And, things get edited the way that they get edited. Like, hey, do you need help? I'm done with what I'm doing. Or, I'll pick up dirty dishes and go clean them. Like, I know how to make myself function in the kitchen. I know how to be helpful even if you don't want my help. And he recognized that. And then we had a few conversations about catering that I had done. Because I catered for a long time, too. And so I think he knew that one day I would be somebody, whatever-ish in this world, if you could. And it's hard to say that, it can't.
Yeah.
He's not really looking for me to be him or anything, but, I think he recognized that I would at least be a chef somewhere. Like, I was in the right business.
Right.
Is what I guess I'm getting at.
He knows, well, the potential.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
So, and that's why I always say, if I had watched the show, because it is about, one of the things they say, you're boring TV. I brought a book. They're like, you want to sit in the corner and drink beer and read a book. Like, that's fucking boring. No one wants to see that. You need to be entertaining. Yeah. And based on the way that I look, and I think the producers thought that I was going to be the one picking a fight.
Yeah, you're
I'm the guy over here that just wants to do your dishes and fucking help you clean the meat. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want?
Well, I don't know. When he told you to cut that, I'm like, hold on. No offense, no offense, Charles. I was like, I did laugh because again, it was.
I still have it though. I still have it.
You grew it back, right?
I gotta braid it before I cook, but I still got it.
Oh man, that was no, I don't know. It again, same thing. I hadn't really seen the show, knew who he was, and again, it was like, all right, it's entertainment. It's you got to make it interesting. To your point, right?
Yeah.
You've got to, if it's some crazy Scottish guy screaming at people and telling them they're fucking stupid and all these other things, and I tell you. I don't know. I think it was maybe episode 2, and so for those, not to kind of put Charles on the spot here, but episode 5, it's all on. You can go find it on the YouTube, uncensored, which is even crazier. Listening to the F-bombs fly all over the place.
I think I've listened to that. I didn't think about that. I need to go do that myself.
Oh yeah, it's.
I've actually only seen my episodes one time when they aired on TV. I didn't think about actually.
Oh wow,
looking at
go
it.
back and
Watch the show to begin with.
Right. But you also lived it, so you're like, well, why do I need to watch something I've been part of? I think the funny part is. And I know I laugh, and then I shouldn't. Again, it's about how I get it, whether you call it how messed up the show could be. Again, it's for TV, it's editing. I'm laughing. I'm only laughing, and all right, I've only had one little, couple ounces, and I'm already got the giggles. The part when you guys won the challenge and you flew out to Catalina in the helicopter, and he told the heavyset guy, "Sorry, you can't get on."
And that was actually.
And then for those who didn't see it, sorry, he could go on the trip, but he had to take the ferry over. And again, based on editing, it looked like he got there when you guys were done hanging out and doing all your fun stuff.
Pretty much.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty fucked up.
Well, and I was going to say it ended up making it better for us, because I think the original plan was to helicopter back as well, but they didn't want to completely leave Rob out of it. And I could be completely wrong, because they don't really let you know a lot of stuff.
Right.
But it seemed like the trip back, where we took like the little yacht boat or whatever, and had the seafood stuff,
Right.
I think that was impromptu. I think that was just like so that Rob could be a part of some of the day.
Right.
Which was good on their part.
Yeah,
Good on
yeah.
them, cool on them. But like I say, we got like bonus, we got the bonus trip, like, all right, cool. Because he couldn't get on the helicopter, we get to do something else fantastic. Sweet.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
do that. But yeah, that's
So.
oddly enough, and I said the editing is weird. Like I've seen things that that's not the actual order that it happened in, or like
Right.
I wonder why things were cut off. Like, God, it got funnier. Like 5 minutes after that was even funnier. Why didn't they put that in there?
Right.
But yeah, the way you read that is exactly how it happened. By the time he got there, we'd already been there for 5 or 6 hours. We were winding down. The sun's getting ready to crash.
Right.
It's just a little. There's not much to do in Catalina anyway. It's tiny. I think there's like 2,000 cars on the whole goddamn island. Maybe
It wasn't.
that.
It wasn't. You didn't go there for the wine mixer, did you?
No, I wish.
Oh.
Catalina wine. It looks like so much fun. We can make memories of the Catalina wine mixer. I feel like I would have been a great part
No,
of the story.
it's the motherfucking Catalina wine mixer.
Right?
He's got to make. He's got to make his nut.
Emphasize that part. You got to get on it.
So no, it's I mean, I guess with that experience, what did you take away from that experience?
It's.
I mean, because I know you got out early, right? Episode 3, right?
Yeah.
And I know because I was watch the part of the elimination when it was you and Seth at the end there, and and he seemed like he had a lot less, but I think he was the stalker guy too, right? Who knew everything
was the
about, and so
stalker guy,
okay, so
and he
so
was-
maybe if you knew a little bit more about Gordon's whole DNA, maybe
Yeah, right. If I knew the code, I think it was more that they planned on. When I went up there I didn't think that I had to defend myself at all.
Right.
I didn't even really think about it. Like, there's no way I'm going home and this guy's going to stay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no fucking way. He's already been up here once already. We're only 3 days in.
Right.
How could they keep him twice? And then, after the fact, you think about it, it's like, this guy's good TV. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's going to screw shit up the whole way through. If
Right.
there's any way we can keep this guy in here, he's going to be entertaining.
right?
He's going to be
Because he's a part of the story that
Yeah,
right.
He's like the
Yeah.
quagmire of the whole
Yeah,
thing,
right.
Giggity.
Yeah, but it was funny because and he was a nice guy, but as a team, the guys all knew because he was on the block 3 back to back to back.
Right.
You survived this time. You survived like every time you were the one that was put up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was kind of funny, and we all got together for the very last episode. We all got together and we got to laugh about it and giggle about it and whatnot. So it was kind of neat, but I guess. I don't really know what I took away the most from that. I mean, I kind of took it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time. It was fun. It was a vacation from my regular job. I just see Gordon Ramsay in a different light. I learned a lot about production of TV, and I learned a lot of things that were trivial. I guess not really going to help me in life. You know what I mean, I can't think of any not to downplay or short it, because it was a great experience.
Right.
I don't know that there was anything that was ultra life changing about it. I was already on the course that I was going to be on. It was an accident that I was even there.
Right.
It was just it was kind of a detour on a road that I was already going on. But I'm glad that I did it. I'm definitely glad that I did it.
it was definitely cool.
And at that time, you had already kind of, you had been a couple different places and different cuisines and styles. So it wasn't some of these things. I think folks that never even cooked or prepared something, they saw it for the first time on that show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that happened to me once or twice, even actually. 'Cause I had never cleaned an actual. We're from Vegas, man. Like, we ain't got time for shucking actual.
Yeah.
When I was working there, we ain't got time for shucking all these scallops by hand and whatnot.
Right.
So they're like, are you going to shuck this scallop? You know how many scallops I've cooked in my life at that point? 1 million. But you know how many I'd actually clean, like raw, fresh, new? None. And that's evident in my cleaning skill. Believe me, I recognize my own shortcomings. I'm good at it.
Right, right.
But yeah, so even myself, like, I guess that, now that you say that, there was a lot of firsts for me. Now that I think that I had never had ostrich before, I had never been to a vineyard before. So I guess what I took away from that most was that there were a lot of firsts in my culinary world and my my wine world.
Right.
Every day I always say you can learn something every day. Whether you're going to the same job you go to every day, if you're paying attention, you can learn something every day from people around you, from whatever.
Right.
So you always try to take whatever you can from every experience, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely. Every day's short, right? You never know. And to your point, you never know if you took what as you mentioned, some of the takeaway was some of the TV production, and who knows, maybe someday, you get involved in some, your own cooking show here. Here we go. We can do your own cooking, get you set up on.
Recording this on your VCRs for all you old people out there.
So we want to try the next one up here.
Yeah, let's do
that.
that.
Yeah, all right.
The real McCoy, my friend. And I'm not putting my name on this one. It might be horrible. We'll find out together.
All right, let me get my little.
But like I said, it was on the top shelf, and there's dust on the bottle, so it's got to be good, or really, really bad. We'll find out together.
So on the interwebs here, on our Facebook Live here, Eddie says you have not tried hard enough if you don't learn something new every day.
That's 100% true.
Yep. So that's great comment there, Ed. So
100% true.
All right.
I suppose you probably want one of these too.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right.
So
yeah.
used to pouring two for myself.
All right. Let's see.
Saying something about myself.
All right. It's a little lighter.
Wow. This one smells a whole lot more like booze. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I still have to do service, All
right. You can handle knives, right?
Oh, yeah. 24 years later, I still have all my fingers. That's actually a lot smoother than it smells.
Yeah, it does.
I think when this one's, if it sits open for a minute, now that it's been open and it aerates a little bit, this one's going to be nice. It's got that, like, when you first open a good, I shouldn't say a good bottle of booze, but a lot of different boozes I find when I just first open them, they kind of have like
it's still a lot of
stringenty smell.
Because it's all still been bottled up. And
yeah, once it breathes a little bit and you give it a little bit of time to mellow, because that's actually pretty smooth and sweet for... Not sweet like this one, though. This is actually more my style. I'm not really a big sweet guy.
Yeah.
But I like what you call that? I like it to be what it's supposed to be. Like when I eat lamb, I want salt, pepper, lamb. I'm a purist, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And so this one reminds me of what I think rum should taste like. That's kind of why I like it. Like it's a little bit sweet for my palate. It's not something that like I want to drink all day, every day, but when I'm going to drink rum, that's what I like because it tastes like rum should taste.
Right.
Same thing with tequila. I'm super particular about tequila. I don't like most of them, but, when I drink one, I want one that, I want the authentic one. I want the real McCoy of tequila.
We got hooked on watching the other night was the Discovery Channel is a show called Master Moonshiners. I don't know. It's Charlene or somebody who might be watching. It was a couple of the guys that did the Moonshining show on Discovery.
I watched that one. The overall guy.
Yep.
I love that show.
So they have now one where it's like a competition amongst people that do distilling, home backyard distilling, which I'm still not quite sure how they do these shows about making shine or liquor, but yet how's somebody not getting busted? You know what I mean?
I'm sure there's something to just like the street racing show.
Yeah, right.
The camera crew setting up to there's got to be a
something.
permit.
Yeah, yeah.
Somewhere.
Here, you're allowed to make this liquor, for the show purposes. I don't know. But they had
I don't know that much about production. I'm going to look into that. Though.
Yes. So they are talking about how they go into making. They're basically put on. It's almost like a 1 hour cook. It's an hour's worth show of like a cooking show, where they've got to make everything from start to finish, and they all have a couple different techniques, and they got to still distill and put different things in there. So it's an interesting.
That's a good way to make people blind. Here,
well, right.
Some booze in an hour. Hopefully this don't kill you.
So the last one, the other night, it was they were making berry or mountain berry bourbon, something like a very fruity bourbon, and this one guy showed these experts how he tests the purity or tests the shine coming out. He gets a little bit on his spoon and he lights the spoon, and it depends on what color it's burning the impurities. And they were like, well, that's something that we've never well, shit, it almost seems like it's chemistry 101, right? You kind of put that,
know that already.
Right? That's something different. So I don't know. I've been trying to think about how do I get into making rum or partnering with somebody, but maybe there's more for 2021 now that once we get past this god awful year, maybe I can get into making my own or partnering with somebody.
Yeah,
so.
we'll talk about that in the next year maybe, because I'm already. There's a cat that comes here, a good friend of mine. We call him Whiskey Rob, and him and I are already getting into possibly making our own bourbon.
Okay.
Or maybe a rye. We're actually rye drinkers. He's a Scotch drinker. I like rye. I like bourbon. I like everything. I'm an alcoholic a little bit.
Connoisseur.
Yeah. I enjoy. I don't overindulge.
Right.
I enjoy. And varieties of spice of life. So it's a little bit of each one, a little bit.
And it is interesting because what I've learned so far from this year is I've sampled rum from Mexico, and we've sampled rum from the Caribbean. A lot of people are mostly familiar with rums from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Right. I just learned there's a big boom of rum making in Scotland.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm trying to get in touch with a few folks over there to talk with them. Again, I don't know how to get alcohol from there into the States, because let alone it's still a lot of prohibition laws about shipping and moving alcohol across.
Shipping is the hard thing right now.
So, but yet it was like, well, that's kind of interesting how they're doing it. And again, there's so much crossovers with barrels and this and that, and it's like, all right, it's no longer pure. But to your point, you're talking about. If you're setting your way,
it still has roots in it, though. Like, I mean, there's room for other things too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess the perfect example is it's not a purist's rye, but my wife loves Angel's Envy rye.
Okay.
And it's tasty rye, but it's aged in spiced rum casks.
Okay.
So it gives this, rye is traditionally very sweet, or very spicy. It's it's more spicy than bourbon usually. It's got that the grain is different, and when you age it in that barrel, it mellows it out a lot, and it makes it sweet in the end. That gives it a vanilla, and in my opinion, and in a lot of rye drinkers' opinion, it's not. If you're a purist, it's not rye. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't taste like rye. But it's good. It tastes good. It's there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, so I say there's wiggle room, because not everyone has to be a purist. You don't have to be. There's no soup for you.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That's just me, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a one of my favorite. There's an ass for every seed. So.
Yep. It's definitely it's okay. So we got it's called Master Distillers. Charlene said it's illegal, but they look the other way. So I don't know. So I guess we're gonna have to go.
Someone's getting paid.
I guess we're gonna go and build a still in Jonathan Dickinson State Park here, in maybe next year. So
Aiden threatened me with a good time.
So all right, so yeah, so we're talking about. So it looks like you said you accomplished a lot in your 20s there. I mean, so you really were hustling, and you like I said, even though school wasn't really for you, you kind of
I knew from a young age, like growing up in Vegas, we didn't have a lot of money. I had a big family. I mean, I didn't have a lot of like big siblings, but my mom had a lot of siblings, and we had a lot of aunts and uncles, and they all had kids, and we always tended to live in the same neighborhoods. And I see from a young age that if you don't go to school, you're not going to have much, because most of my family didn't go to school, and they didn't have much. My dad wasn't a big go-to-school guy, but he was a hard worker, and he did really well for himself. He was a diesel mechanic, but he slaved. He worked, and I got a work ethic from my dad, and I just realized from a young age that I was going to have to work if I wasn't going to go to school. And I think that's where my 20s is where I made the most progress, because I had already, you think about it, by the time I'm 23, 24, I've already got 9 years in my business, where most people are just getting out of college.
Right.
I've got 9 years doing this, and I still have a young body to do it. So that's where I think that I just happened to land everything in the right time at the right place.
Right.
I was in the culinary hotspot at the right time. I had the right information in my head at the right time. I didn't have the wrong habits yet. Like I say, it just worked out just right.
Right.
I was very fortunate, and I got 2 kids now, and my kids are very, very smart, and I tell them all the time that that it looks like this is all easy and fun and exciting, but it's been a lot of work to get here. Keep your ass at school, or you're going to end up at McDonald's, buddy.
Right.
That's the reality of it. I mean, and college is what it is. Maybe it's not college, maybe it's a trade school, maybe it's a whatever, but you need to fully be invested in whatever you're going to be invested in, because nothing gets handed to you.
Right.
And the longer you wait, less chance you got.
Right.
And the success rate goes down. And that's just how I've always felt about it. I was in a hurry to do everything. I bought a house young, I married young, I had kids young, I was a corporate chef young, I bought a restaurant at 37.
Right.
we're moved 36 even. So in a perfect world, I'll be retired at 50.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
There you go. That's right. That's a lot of folks that are in that restaurant life, right? Is you bust ass in, I don't know, that maybe my perception ain't wrong or right, but is to bust ass and hopefully retire early, or at least start to slow down a little bit, right? Whereas somebody who might be working in an office is there till they're 70, right? And again, to each their own, right? Yep. And if everyone has different passions and how they want to approach things and so forth, but and again, I always talk about this on the podcast, is it comes back to the hustle. You got to hustle, and especially this year is the most challenging year I think everyone has ever probably is who's alive has faced. It ain't gonna be handed to you. Things are going to turn upside down. Things are going to throw you a curveball. I know y'all had been, like a lot of businesses had been impacted by the COVID, and trying to make your way through that, and so
it has been a challenge, but I look at it as I'm going into my 3rd year in business. The second year started, or the end of my 2nd year was beginning of like the Corona thing, out of season with a virus, already, floundering. Not floundering is the wrong word, but an aspiring business. Like, we've got every curveball thrown at us, and we're still here.
Yeah.
And I still see an upward trend. I'm still seeing growth in my numbers, and we're thankful every day.
Yeah.
Thankful every day, and it's not lost on
Yeah.
us.
Well, cheers.
Great. It's people like you. It's our great regulars that come in. It's people that want to see us do well, genuinely.
Well, right.
I think it's because of the relationships that we build with people. We're big on, just like you started with, like great friends, great family. Like, that's That's really how we feel about it, and that's
Right.
why we're still here.
Yeah,
You're gonna be.
right. Yeah, no, you've come in here, and if, like I said again, if y'all who live up here in the West Palm area, Jupiter, Martin County, or anywhere here in South Florida, you definitely gotta stop in, here to Nitrogen. As we said, it's where I think your website says where it's a speakeasy feel with a very elegant, cuisine that's served. It is definitely a very cool atmosphere, especially I know you get a little bit of a nighttime crowd that kind of comes in,
Yeah,
and can a little
we have
bit there.
Time there too.
Yep.
We have a good time there
So,
too.
so yeah, I mean, I know, it's just if you're coming down to Indian Town, definitely, it's down here off of Indian Town, and you definitely got to come in and check it out. Like I said, I don't think there's anything that we haven't had yet, and I know we haven't had everything yet either.
We're getting ready to change more stuff.
Oh,
There's always
perfect.
something new
Yeah.
here.
Now,
Time of the year, buddy.
and I think Charles is, I think like what you said there about the relationships, you and your wife are very engaging, when you're here and, you're running, talking with the customers and, rather than just being totally, so you're very, that's an important part, building
I
that
think so.
connection,
I
right?
mean, for me. I've had a couple people when when you're busting tables and you're running food, it just looks like you're understaffed. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm involved in my business. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm touching every table.
Right.
When I'm busting a table, I can see how much you've eaten. When I'm dropping the food off, I can see where your drink levels, if the server's taken care of, if the table's clean, if it's been pre-bussed.
Right.
And as I'm exporting, I can see that my sushi guy's doing his job and the hot food's coming out right. And I can see that the servers are garnishing the plates right. I can see that the dishes are clean. For me, that's just running your business. You can either run your business or you can pay somebody a lot of money to run your business, but no one's going to give a shit about your business the way
Right.
you care about your business. And that's where people ask me all the time, are you going to open another one? Or are you going to, no, because there's only one of me and this is my business. This is it. I can't be in two places at once.
Right.
This is my business.
Right, because at the end of the day, look, it's your business, right?
Cheers.
And
This is our local neighborhood cheers. This
Yes.
is the only one there is.
right. So this is definitely, this ain't the chain. This is, you're come out and support your mom and pop,
Yeah,
type
100%.
place here, and again, there's you're surrounded by other chains, here, but again, it's I'd say it's like the best little, best little secret kind of,
Yeah.
here on Indian Town where you definitely.
It's a nice little hole in the wall, I always say.
Oh damn! This ain't no hole in a wall. Come on now. Come on, this ain't no hole in a wall. So, so super welcoming. Yes. So we got that. So all right. So that's kind of an interesting, kind of segue into this here. So what's the best and worst thing about being a boss?
Well, everything is horrible about it, and there's not much good about it.
Okay, there you go. Well, there you go. That was easy.
Yeah, that one's easy. That there really isn't a best. I don't think. I mean, there's just a lot of, and this is going to sound negative and horrible. And I don't mean it to be that way, but it's mostly drawbacks. It's mostly the schedule falls on you if someone calls in sick, or the bill falls on you. There's really not a lot of like, oh, it's the greatest. We're just not there yet,
Right.
Eventually, maybe, and that's why I say, like, when I was in school, one of the first things they teach you, if you're in this business to be a millionaire, you're in the wrong fucking business.
Right.
This is something that you need to love. You need to enjoy every day, and they say that about everything. Like, if you love what you do, then you're never working.
Right.
But so, like I say, as far as like, there's more drawback than benefit, and there always, I don't want to say there always will be, but.
Well,
the way that I look at it.
you're your own boss, right? So,
Yeah.
which there's the benefits. You don't answer to anybody, right?
But you do. You answer.
Well, yeah,
you,
true.
You answer to the staff not showing up. You answer to the tables being there.
True.
You answer to everybody. That's
Right.
the problem.
Right.
not the problem. That's the reality, I should say.
Right.
When you're the boss, you answer to everybody.
Right.
I may not answer to like a shareholder or nobody can particularly. And actually, people do yell at me all the time. People yell at me all the time. I shouldn't say that, but that's the actual reality of it. I have more bosses than being the owner. I have more bosses than most people do.
So all of the your selection here, and like I said, I know maybe the camera can't do very good justice here. I know, but we'll maybe take a couple pictures here for posting later here. But the selection here, how have you gone about? As you said, you've had your travels, your Vegas, you're a connoisseur, right, of many of those things.
I enjoy most.
So do you procure certain things, or do you have somebody who kind of just
I got really lucky when I bought this place. It was one of those right time, right place things where the previous gentleman who had built the building out didn't know anything about the restaurant that he had built. And he was having a hard time with it, but what he was good at was spending money. He was really good at spending money. So he bought when I bought from him, he had like $50,000 in liquor inventory here. So he had things that I had never even heard of before. He had just unfathomable things, and I eventually had to pay for all that stuff. It took me it was 10 months before I bought anything other than like
what was already,
and kegs and stuff.
Right.
But it gave me a lot of time to go through everything, and he was one of those guys that bought, all right, well, if it's $1 cheaper if I buy the case, I'll buy the case. So not only did I have one bottle, but I probably had 6 of it. I had a closet full of liquor, and so that actually is a pain in the ass coming up with the money to pay for it all. But having it already in my pocket made it easy, because how do you know to go look for something if you don't know what it is or how it exists?
True. True.
So when I bought the place and there was already 30 kinds of scotch, and I could try it and go, all right, well, that's what this is. That's what an Islay is. This is what an Highland is. And, my whole life I thought that, Macallan was like the epitome of
Was
scotch.
it?
Well, I mean, it's a great scotch,
right.
But a scotch drinker, in my opinion, is going to want, like an Islay, you're going to want a smoky, peaty, nasty scotch. If you're a real scotch drinker, that's what you want, I think, anyway. But I had no idea until I got this place. And so that's where a lot of our liquor has basically been in my whittling down of what I felt was unnecessary.
Right.
And at the same time, I want to keep a good variety of everything. I don't want to strip it down to, we only sell this, and this is the 2 things that I like.
Right.
So we keep 4 different Isleys, and we keep 4 different Highlands, and, I keep 25 different bourbons. There's an ass for every seat here, for sure. Or a seat for every ass, I should say. But thank God for having a huge liquor inventory to find, and it's a lot of study, and it's a lot of reading about things. It's a lot of, oh, well, this is the same distiller and the same mash as this. This come from here. It's the same thing.
Right.
This is the same as that. You put that label on that, But it's been a neat road of discovery for me, I think. I was a Jameson Budweiser drinker for many, 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 many years. Then I got here and I was like, what the hell have I been doing? Like, there are many
There's a lot of
things.
other things out there.
Yeah, there are some fantastic things in the world, and I'm missing out on a lot of them.
Yeah, and
Spoken like a true alcoholic.
Connoisseur.
Yeah,
connoisseur. And to that, and like I mentioned, was prior to that, it was just the whole world of other, a boom really in a lot of craft distilling, and then alone like the rum distilling, and Florida's got a very budding, and as I mentioned, even as far away as even Scotland, and I had just recently got a chance to stop in on a travel in Richland, Georgia.
Amazing rum there.
Yes.
I was actually hoping to get a bottle for our drinking here, because that's an odd one you don't see everywhere.
Maybe I'll stop by, because I did pick up a bottle. Maybe I'll come by a little bit later, and with the missus. I'll
hope to have that here today. I really did, but I couldn't get my fingers on one.
So
it's funny you bring that up.
So the guys that were there at the distillery or the shop or whatever had said that they are now selling in Florida. They have bottles in a place in Palm Beach Gardens, in a establishment there. I guess they have to sell to the point of we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It's a point to point, right?
Yep.
So I guess now they ship directly and so forth. And that was something I saw. I saw that rum in another establishment here in Jupiter, and I knew what it was, and it was up on the top shelf, and I said, okay, I'm going to have some of that. And so maybe I'll come by, and I don't know if I can, I don't know if I'm just outing myself now, BYOB, but yeah, I think, it's, like I said, it's there's different things that we all don't know everything, right? And like I said, you have somebody who comes in, who shares you something you learn, and right, we can't be experts in everything, right?
Yeah. And that's really what it is.
So, all right. So let's see. What do I got? What I got for you? So, all right, Charles, you ready? You ready for what I call the rapid fire here?
Sure.
All right. So rapid fire is this.
Scared? Should I have another shot of rum first?
I don't know. You can have. No. So what it is just a matter of. I'll ask you something. It's like either a yes or no or a choice, and you got like 5 seconds to answer, and then we'll go through again. Don't think about. It's like one of those black or white, all right? And then you just kind of say first thing that comes to mind, and then we'll maybe go into a little bit digging into it. So, all right. So first one is Las Vegas heat or Florida heat?
Is worse.
No,
I think Las Vegas heat's way worse.
Okay.
Way worse.
All right. Would you do Hell's Kitchen again?
Absolutely. I would prefer to do it at my current age.
Okay. All right. All right. And I know it's a rum podcast show. Whiskey or rum?
I gotta say whiskey.
All right.
Gotta tease you a little bit. I like them all.
Yeah. No,
But now, if you'd said whiskey or bourbon, I'd have said bourbon.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. I know whiskey, Scotch, bourbon. They are very distinct in their senses. I know some people don't know the difference. They are very similar. There's a lot of similarities in there.
They are all whiskeys, but within whiskeys, they are different. So, like,
right.
Scotch is a whiskey, and rye is a whiskey, and whiskey is whiskey. Bourbon is a whiskey, but they're depending on what their 51% of their grain is depending on what you would call it.
Right. So the heat. You just don't. You prefer the wet, swampy heat versus the dry heat.
Yes, 100%. For me, as long I've been here almost 10 years, 9 years, something like that. God, I'm horrible at math.
Yeah.
I think it's been 8. Anyway, as long as I've been here, I feel like, one, I haven't wore suntan lotion since I've been here, and I've been to the Caribbean a few times. I can't leave my house in Vegas for 15 minutes without my skin peeling and turning red.
Oh, wow.
There's a place out there on that side called Death Valley. People die there. I don't know if you're aware of this, but last year planes couldn't take off because the tarmac was so hot. The goddamn tires were sinking into the ground. People die in the summertime, like old people die in the summertime in their cars. It's so goddamn hot. You don't hear about that shit here.
No.
That is over there. You can cook an egg on the sidewalk there. Like, the dry heat is way worse. It dehydrates you in a heartbeat. It is worse. But my opinion.
Right. Well, I don't know. I guess being at least close to the ocean or the water, I at least guess there's a lot more cooling down.
I think too. When I get a little bit red here, there's moisture in the air. I can still move around. I don't feel like I might be a little bit colored, but I don't feel like a piece of leather. But in Vegas, oh my God, you're like walking like a crispy like a lizard coming out of your skin. It's horrible, and like I peel like that too. I don't do that here.
Right.
So I personally would take this over that. Florida, you guys got me. I'm never going back to Vegas. I hate it there, so you're stuck with me.
Sorry, guys.
So Hell's Kitchen. So you'd have a different kind of approach. You know, if Gordon Ramsay was listening to this podcast, he'd say, you know, Gordon,
I'd throw a fucking pan at him. Put him on his fucking toes. Who do you think you are, asshole? He still might know a little bit more than me now, but I think we're closer to an even keel now than we were then, that's for sure.
Right.
That's for sure.
Again,
I feel like he probably hasn't cooked nearly as much in the last 15 years as I have. I've had a little bit of catching up.
Yeah, you've been in the trenches.
Yeah.
So, well, that's all I've got. So, anything you want to, you know, give a plug for, or anything you've got for the good of you know, the listeners here, or?
Yeah. No, I'm easy, man. I'm easy. I appreciate everyone listening, and hopefully you had some fun with us. I appreciate your time.
Yep.
Thinking about us coming out here, had some good laughs and stuff.
Yeah.
Always a good time. Hope to see some of you folks come by. Hope you continue to follow my buddy over here. Yep. Good dude. That's all I got, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna go do this cooking thing.
I know. I got
the air conditioner on, 'cause I don't think anybody did that yet. I feel like it's getting warm in here. Maybe it's just the rum.
That's just the rum talking. So no, and Nitrogen has a lot of, you know, different specials and different, you know, things, you know, to kind of keep it fresh. You know, your Whiskey Wednesdays you've got, you know, right?
Whiskey Wednesdays. Every Wednesday I try to put a different whiskey out there. Sometimes it's an old favorite of mine. Sometimes it's a new one that's on the market. We'll do whichever whiskey I pick for the day is half off all the day, and then every other whiskey is half off from 7 to 9 through dinner.
Right.
And then we're going to start getting into some live music on Thursdays and Saturdays. We've been doing a comedy night the first Sunday. That's actually a fun. I didn't think that was going to work out so well, but I don't really have much to do with it. You know, I rent the room to somebody, and he produces it, and he brings the comedians, and I just make sure that the bar is here. And it's on a day that we're closed anyway, because we're closed on Sundays anyway. It's the first Sunday of every month, and I thought that was just going to bomb here. But it's actually done really well, and people are really funny, and I don't have to do anything. And I'm like, all right, cool, we can keep doing this. So I don't know anybody that's out there looking for a comedian and a cocktail on the first Sunday of every month. We're here doing that as well. We in-house desserts, in-house specials. We do as much here as you can. We try to do everything, right, you know, fresh, organic, and, you know, all those fun buzzwords that everyone's using now that they should have been using forever. I always say, my favorite is when I see like we're all organic and we're all fresh and we're all this now. Well, what the fuck were you doing before? Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it's always should have been. What were you doing before? Right.
It's not all pre-packaged or preservatives and right. Yeah.
Made right here by there's 8 of us that work here. We do it all. It's a labor of love is what it all comes down to.
Right.
You know, same thing over and over again. If you gotta be built for this business, or you're not. You know, you love it or you don't. You're in it or you're not. I guess that's what I could leave you with.
There you go. No, I appreciate it. So make sure you check out over there on, you know, again, I know if you don't live locally here, but you definitely, if you are local, or if you stop by in Palm Beach County, come by Nitrogen, check them out on Facebook, and then get their address. What's the address here?
It's nitrogenbrasserie.com, because I had to make it French and difficult for everyone. Nitrogenbrasserie.com.
There you go. And check out their Instagram. They've, you know, post a lot of cool things. They've got the cuisine that they've got, their different plates, and again, like I said, you get everything from sushi to you know, aged
curries,
steak,
dry aged steaks, and dry aged meatloaf. And we do everything around here. There's nothing's. Don't ever take anything at face value here. Shepherd's pie and meatloaf are to another level here.
Like, that's shepherd's pie. Yeah. It's like all dry aged steak scrap, and we get nutty with things. Trust and believe. Too much fun. I love my food.
So make sure you check it out, and then also thanks for listening. Check us out on all of our socials, Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and you'll get some stuff going on YouTube and all the other places. Check out the podcast on wherever you can find a podcast. That's where we're at, and make sure you hit the follow and subscribe button, and go ahead and listen to some of the past episodes as well. Again, I want to thank Charles today for a great Saturday afternoon.
It was.
So got a little bit of sampling of a couple different bottles here, and
I'm going to put them away before I finish them.
So, all right, Charles, my man.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
that was great.
Say hi to the fam for me.
I will do. So, all right, thanks everybody for listening and following and watching on Facebook.
Have a great,
there.
Safe weekend, people.
That's right. All right. Cheers. Where the backbeats meet the spirits.